Are we live? Hey guys, so we are live and we're going to give a few minutes for everybody to share the video, and I'll do some bullshitting during that time, and then after that I'm going to get out of the way because I don't think anybody tonight cares about me at all. And so we're going to hear from these four amazing musicians. But in the meantime, I think we all got to do a little social media sharing. So I'm gonna
throwing out on my Twitter account.
Your face.
Throwing it up on Facebook. Good call.
It'll be on Faceplant and MySpace.
You know, I think I still have a MySpace. I think I still have a Black Planet.
What's that? I didn't even know that one.
That was a social media site that was supposed to be exclusively for Black people. And so of course,
and the man took it down.
It's probably still up there. It's
I remember that one. I remember Friendster.
Work.
Right.
Turn the amp on. It does work. Oh, awesome! You get all the effects too.
So that's actually a particularly good like icebreaker question. Is what's the first social media site that anybody had? Dave, have you had a social media? I know you're not currently on there. Have you had one in the past?
I have not.
No. Dave's never had any of that stuff. I mean, maybe some
email name that was Mud for about 6 months, and then it went away. But no, I never did Facebook. I never did email. I never did. I guess the answer is no.
Ryan, what about you? What was your first social media?
I believe it was MySpace. MySpace was really, really popular at the time. And it was kind of how bands networked.
Totally.
Back in the early, I don't know, like 2004, 2003, around that era. So that was the first one I had that I utilized.
Yeah, that was the first one I heard of too.
Yeah.
I think it was the same for me. Was Friendster before or after MySpace?
I think it was before it. People were using it before, but I hadn't been interested in that. It was just because MySpace was so connected to music.
The whole MySpace music thing became big real quick. I remember that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Catchpenny was going on there.
Oh, sure.
Like, oh, dude, it's a site. And I was like, well, what's a site?
Yeah.
I guess I must be just in the right age bracket to be like, I must be older than Ryan and younger than Michael, because I was like, I guess part of the first social media generation, because I had stuff way before MySpace. I had stuff in the 90s.
Like what?
Black Planet for one, ICQ, Yahoo had something. I don't remember what it was.
What about online? Wasn't that a thing?
That was. I was not a part of America Online. I don't remember why. I remember getting those discs in the mail, but we never used them. I think my wife talked about using them when she was in that age bracket, in that era. But
I had AOL for a while for sure. I remember that. I remember you like go to Target and get the disc, 1,000 or whatever.
Did you answer the question, Jeremy? I can't remember.
Yeah, I did. I think MySpace was the first one. For me.
Yeah.
What about you, Michael?
He said MySpace, I thought.
I think Facebook was the first one for me. I saw MySpace and I was like, that looks like a real irritation.
Well, is everybody ready to get started, or do we still have some sharing to do?
I did mine.
Everybody good?
Before I came on, so yeah, it should be all right.
Ryan, you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, well, let me do a little introduction and get out of the way, because again, I might as well just take myself off the camera tonight.
Why you say that?
Because nobody cares about me tonight when they have all the members. Plus, doesn't it look better when there's a
yeah.
It sure showed, man.
So,
You're the host, man.
Michael is also the host. Therefore, only one of us needs to be represented when it's Soul Asylum here, and that one is Michael.
Yeah, but we definitely need somebody to we are the only people we've seen mostly for the last couple months. So
right, and we've all heard each other's BS already, so we
exactly.
steer the shit.
Okay, well, I won't go too far. So this is, I believe, the season finale of MUSiPOLiTiX. This is, with the possible exception of maybe Michael and I will pop on around Christmas time. Other than that, this may be the last thing you see from us in 2020. And it is election night, and we have the best possible guest that we could have, Michael's musical family, one of the greatest still touring rock bands, Soul Asylum, featuring my co-host, Michael Bland on drums and music director. And I don't know which way to point. Everything's all changed.
Down. I'm down here. You're up there.
There he is. Right there. Right below me.
Is Ryan right there?
Yeah, he's right. Yeah, very good, Dave. You got on the first try.
That's Ryan. And then that's Jeremy.
Yeah.
Dave's better at this than I am.
Yeah, somehow I didn't know he had this gift.
And there's Michael. And then
the backwards, like forward. The backwards forward.
Well, maybe it's years of being on television.
And Dan Spiffy Neuman.
And Wagomatic, he hails from Madison, Wisconsin, next to Kenosha, powder keg of the nation. White people going crazy in Wisconsin right now.
They boarded up downtown.
No matter what happens tomorrow, they still gonna be going crazy.
Yep.
But that won't stop you from bringing the Holy Ghost when you sit on that organ, from shanking on that guitar, from not being scared, not scared of black folks, upset at white folks. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Spiffy Neuman, my co-host. All right. Yeah.
Well, did I do enough to introduce our guests, or you want to take it a little further?
Oh, go ahead. Listen.
No, I already did it. So if you got anything else to add to it,
they know who this is. they know what this is. It's the last living legendary rock band of the nation. You don't believe it? Come to a show. Well, come to the show when you can come to a show.
Right.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed the streaming show. I don't know how you guys felt about playing it, but
give us your thoughts.
I was really impressed because, having done a lot of streaming concerts even before the pandemic, because churches have been streaming for I don't know how long, just like every Sunday.
Yeah, everybody won't come. Some people try to sleep in.
Right. And it's so hard to get good sound quality. It's so hard to engage with the crowd that you can't see or hear. Mm-hmm. It's really difficult to translate a live experience through streaming, which you don't even have all the same audio capabilities that you'd have with a record, and you don't have the same video capabilities you'd have filming it. It's the most bare bones thing, and it's really hard. And you guys, it felt like a show. Dave was interacting with the audience. It really did feel like being there and seeing a live performance to the best effect that streaming can do. And I wish I would have had the capability to set it up in my studio so I could listen through the big speakers. I think we set it up in the TV and we're listening through the TV speakers.
Sure.
But yeah, I knew it was going to be among the better streaming experiences because I know that Michael is very, very picky. And so I knew that that the audio, that every aspect about it was going to be as close to his standards as he could get it.
Well, I'm not the only one who cares, which is why these particular 4 people work together. Everybody's after the result.
Yeah, we don't really sit around and go, how half-assed can we do something?
Right. No half-assers.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, or maybe you would, at how many people do. Like, what's the least we can get away with?
That ain't
Ryan playing to a phone.
I used to do that on tour when I wanted people back home to see, back before it was
yeah.
But I was really impressed. I was glad because I wasn't originally, I had some other stuff to do that day and I wasn't feeling well, and so I didn't think I was going to make it. And then Michael said something to me that made me feel like, no, I need to be there. And I did. And I was just so glad. I was having a bad weekend, I think. And it really made me, it really was the highlight of that weekend. So thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Oh, my wife's comment. We had a very gentle mosh pit in the living room. Yeah.
I like
mosh pit. Yes.
So how do I get y'all talking and then I can stay out of the way? Because
you gotta stay out of the way. First of all, you're in the way. You got to get in. Got in the mix.
Yeah.
See if we.
Yeah. There's no real mysteries here. Nobody on this page is presently is voting for Trump. Or we know that.
Here, have a band meeting. Come on, man. I voted today, and it was very anticlimactic. I really wanted to see armed militias trying to prevent me from voting, so I could take a couple out. Not out to dinner, but you know what I mean. And once I was done voting, I felt like, so now what do? I cross my fingers and wait for 2 weeks? Is that
pretty much? Where did you go? Where'd you go vote?
Is it really going to be 2 weeks?
Huh?
Where'd you go?
Oh, it's walking distance from my house. I used to go to this church, and now it's at the school. So it was.
I know the school.
It was a nice walk. There's a lot of activity. Seems like there's a lot of trepidation, I think is the right word. And,
seem scared to you?
It's
People seemed scared.
I think that that this election has been blown up to a point where nobody really trusts the election system, or at least it seems dubious. And I think maybe that may have inspired. I think this has been the biggest voting year like ever. And you can attribute that to whatever you want. But they really sort of pumped it up as I mean, to me, I'm kind of like, well, now I really got to vote, because even if my vote doesn't count and they throw it into the garbage can somewhere, if enough people vote, maybe the electoral college. I mean, come on. Is anybody here like sure that the people that you voted for are going to be, their votes are going to be counted accurately?
I'm not.
No, unfortunately, no.
It's crazy. I've been having the conversation with so many people, and you guys are, especially you guys that are older than me or blacker than me, in Michael's case, can correct if I'm wrong. But this seems like by a huge margin, way more voter suppression than we've seen since before the Civil Rights Movement and the Voting Rights Act. Like, this is like they're being really crazy overt with the voter suppression this time around. They're not even trying to hide it. They're like, oh no, we're not trying to keep Democrats from voting, black people from voting. They're outright saying, I think someone higher up in the Republican Party was quoted as saying that like the less voter turnout is, the more likely they are to win.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they know that, which is why they've been so busy.
Yeah, I did see something suggesting that what are we supposed to, I'm gonna call him Humpty Dumpty because it kind of rhymes with his name, but
He who shall not be named.
I don't like saying his name.
We don't either.
But it seems like because he discouraged early voting so much, the newscaster, which I thought was kind of cute, who I heard, she said that might come back and bite him in the butt. You can't say ass, I suppose.
You can say ass.
But I think that's what she meant. It's like, what is Biden's thing? He's busting his neck. what he wants to say is busting his ass, you know.
Well, all right.
Anyway, so if in fact that's true, that's a good thing, because if Trump, I'm sorry, what are we calling him?
Humpty Dumpty.
If Humpty Dumpty encouraged people to discourage people to early vote, that might give Joe Blow an advantage. Hopefully, if they're not paying the post office to throw everything into a bin of fire.
Well, there it is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I heard that they were going to literally start raiding post offices and looking for votes. I read that at some point today. They're going to start going through the post office and make sure there's not like bins of uncounted votes anywhere or something.
Who's going to be doing this?
I'm not exactly sure, because I only half read it while I was half awake this morning, but it was a headline. It just seems crazy that we're at the point where that's where we're at, where we're, votes are being intentionally lost or hidden, or
Well, it's been a big year for unprecedented
it sure has.
bullshit.
It sure has.
Can we call
Big
it
year.
that?
So my wife's already trying to start shit in the comments here.
Oh, good.
I think she's got a question for you guys. I'll put it on the screen and I'll read it in case anybody can't see it, which is Jack Black came out as pro-Biden recently and got a lot of flack from his fans. How do you guys respond to people who take issue with your political stance?
Jack Black?
Jack Black got flack.
Jack Black?
That's whack.
That's whack.
That's right.
How do you respond to people who take issue with your political stance? Can we all be friends? Of course we can be. Dude, is that your wife? Is that a picture of your wife?
Yeah,
God, she's gorgeous.
thank you.
What did you do right?
Ask her. I don't know. That'll be the next topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I came out as pro-Biden because I was tired of the just vote, go vote, go vote. Here, everybody vote, vote. Here, vote, vote, vote. I'm like, fuck that. Vote for Biden. Because it's voting against Trump, really. And that's another thing that I have always had a problem with, is that we live in a binary world, and it's either the Packers or the Vikings. It's either the Republicans or the Democrats. And it's too bad that a third party is a waste of your vote. But if you're going to vote against Trump. That is kind of what I said during the live stream, more or less. And it's just time to just be frank.
Yeah, it inspired some backlash, but my stance on this, and Dan, because we talked about it. If you think Dave Pirner, if you think that dude is going to vote for somebody like Trump, you haven't been paying attention to the lyrics. You haven't really been paying attention to his activism. I mean, we literally asked our fans to give money to the George Floyd Memorial Fund, and we support Black Lives Matter. Who do you think we're going to vote for?
And this band played the Clinton inauguration. So what is that? It's like
I'll let Dave tell it if he wants to tell the story about that.
I'd love to hear it.
I won't volunteer that information. He might not want it.
I'm a little disappointed with Jack Black's fans. But, I guess when you put yourself out there all the time, it's like, how do you appreciate Tenacious D and still somehow you're not in on the joke? I don't know if that makes any sense.
Makes perfect sense.
I mean, what's the other guy's name in Tenacious D?
Kyle.
Kyle Gass.
Do you think Kyle voted for Trump? I mean, come on. What are the odds?
Probably not.
Yeah, I didn't get it. I'm like, you're digging the wrong band if you think that's really going to happen.
Yeah, rock the boat. Remember rock the boat? Why didn't that happen? Oh, right, the COVID.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, there's a lot of people that just kind of assume when they see, like a band that has mostly white musicians, that there's a possibility that some of them might be Trump supporters. I mean, I I was very proud to see that when you guys came out publicly about George Floyd and Black Lives Matter and all that, because it does run the risk of costing some fans. And I was very happy to say, I know these guys, I support these guys. You know, they're using their platform to take a public stance. But I mean, especially with artists and bands who aren't as vocal, a lot of times you might assume that they're on the right side of history, but they're not vocal about it, because they don't want to alienate people. And then other people often wonder or assume.
Well, you have to be a jackass to jump on a bandwagon politically. I mean, if you don't know your own conscience, then I guess you're going to tell people what you believe in, but then you're going to backpedal because you're going to lose a couple fans or something. I mean, not for me. I mean, I've always been pretty upfront about it.
Yeah.
And, frankly, I don't care that people, it's not like religion. I believe religion is a little bit more discreet. It's more of a personal thing. This is if one of my friends said they voted for Trump, I'd be shocked. In fact, this is a terrible context. It's a terrible context, but
go ahead, man.
I put it in the same context as people who bought Hootie and the Blowfish records. I don't know a single one of them, but there's a lot of them out there, and I don't know. I'm thinking there's a lot of Hootie fans, even though their singer is an African American. I've got a lot of Hootie fans are Republicans. I go out there and guess that. Maybe not. But I would think Tenacious D's fans were, I don't know, not Republicans. So I'm sorry to hear that. What's his name? Which one is it? Jack White or Jack Black?
Jack Black.
Kidding. Anyways.
I wonder if it's less Tenacious D fans and more moviegoers that know him from
there you go.
Godzilla or whatever.
Maybe King Kong was the movie you said.
King Kong, that's what I'm thinking of. Right.
That's right.
Well, I probably wouldn't have known if it weren't for my friendship with Michael just how many Prince fans were Republicans and racists and everything like that.
I found out recently myself within the last year.
I take issue in the first place with how can you be a fan of Black music but not a fan of Black people? That's where especially when you see I know some white musicians that are vocally racist that play blues and country and rock and funk, and I'm like, okay, but you make your living playing Black music and you're gonna have the nerve to be outwardly racist? It does not compute to me.
It doesn't compute for me either. I mean, look how many people got into Gangnam Style.
That's not your favorite record, Dave?
I don't know where that guy is from, but I'm sure that a lot of people hate where that guy is from and don't even know where he's from.
Well, he's from Korea.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Yeah.
Did we kind of a roundabout the way cover Shannon's question too?
I'm
I
not
put it
sure.
up there.
What do you say? I think I kind of answered this, but I'd like to hear from Ryan's point of view.
There we go.
All right.
That think fans should stay out of politics. Oh, everyone else can read this, right?
Yeah.
Everybody can read it. What do you say to people who think that jerks or whatever, that think that musicians should stay out of politics? I think it depends on the artist, but I think ultimately, like Dan was saying, there's certain sides of history that you need to be on, and you have to be vocal about it. And there's no gray area about certain things. Beyond that, it's like some bands are going to be more political. Not every band is going to be Rage Against the Machine. Some bands are going to be more about having a good time, etc. But I think right now, particularly, it's just a very vital time for musicians to at least engage in talking about politics, other important issues going on, racial issues going on. It's just you can't really stand on the sidelines right now. So to people that criticize that, I just think it's pretty it's something that I can't understand or comprehend right now. I'm like, so you think people should just be quiet, you know? Essentially, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, not only that, I mean, it's happened to many people, but it's happened in recent time more to black people involved in entertainment than anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Kaepernick, just one example, you know. It's like, wow, okay, well, he's using his platform to try to empower his people. We don't want you to just play ball. We don't need to know what you think or how you feel about the United States, the place that gave you the privilege to use your gift and make us a lot of money. So
I bet Rage Against the Machine has a lot of Republican fans. I put money on
Right.
I'll be right back.
They probably do somehow.
They probably do. I mean, that's very possible.
Yeah.
I remember there being some sort of controversy when one of the members or something came out and for a Democratic cause or a Black Lives Matter type cause or something like that. And then they got a bunch of backlash. And then basically the response was like, well, what machine did you think they were raging against? Not the washing machine, you know?
Right.
It's
sure.
so this question is not for me because I'm not in Minnesota, but for the rest of you that are, what Minnesota house races are you guys watching?
I'm currently not paying attention to any of it. Just doing the stream down in my home studio and staying tuned out for now.
Likewise, I've been tied up all day, like nonstop to this, so I have not been paying attention.
Is there anybody in particular that you're really hoping wins, or is it just a matter of voting blue?
I don't know. I mean, pretty much it's. Well, I did vote blue in every category, so.
I'm Googling to see who's up for re-election in Minnesota. Yeah, I don't. It's not. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you who's up for re-election or who's on the ballot for that matter in Wisconsin either. I voted a couple weeks ago, whatever the first week was, you could do early voting, and most of the races it was just blue or not blue, and I voted blue. And for the ones that had more nuance than that, I researched them before I voted, but I don't remember now. It's just, I'll be very curious to see. I don't think I'm in terms of other states' house races. I don't think they're going to budge Mitch McConnell, but I'll still be watching. And there's a chance, I'll be really surprised, but there's a chance that they might defeat Lindsey Graham in South Carolina. And, I would love to see either one of those guys get defeated, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Why do you think there's such fixtures? I never really understood that. Is that just their seniority or these guys don't seem to go away?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah, you go.
Well, I was saying there's a family history there, which is part of it. It's like it's ingrained into part of the culture. So I think for Lindsey Graham, there's going to be a portion of society that's going to gravitate towards him because of his father. So
he did endorse, as far as I'm concerned, Lindsey Graham said some stuff about Joe Biden that just was great. He was just like, he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet, and things like that made me feel good about voting for Biden. And that's pretty coming from Lindsey Graham. I'm like, wow, all right. So I don't know. My biggest hang up was voting for Tina Smith, who was running. The other two people running against her were on the pro-marijuana ticket. That's when I started getting all this anxiety, like, oh, maybe I'm making the wrong choice. But I had to sort of go with my own sort of rules that are like, don't vote for a third party that will put a Republican in office. So that I felt pretty bad. I was pretty impressed that 2 people were running on the pot ticket. And, you know, I'm pro weed, but that's the one that made me the most nervous. I didn't do my research on the weed candidates.
I was going to say, did you smoke up to get rid of them jitters?
I really should have done that.
It's somebody commented about Tina Smith earlier too. I didn't. I'll be honest and say I didn't know who she was. In answer to Dave's question from earlier, I actually asked. I've got a friend of mine in Kentucky who's fairly politically involved, a white woman in the same age bracket I am, a Democratic voter, and I asked her why. You know, what's the feeling on the ground about Mitch McConnell? I mean, they, you know, and basically she says that everybody that she knows in Kentucky, they don't like him, but they know he can get things done for their state because he's so influential. So a lot of people that might not otherwise vote for somebody like McConnell vote for him in Kentucky because he helps their state. You know, he may be terrible for the country in large, but he's good for Kentucky. And so there's a lot of Kentuckians that vote for him for that reason. He's not well liked in Kentucky. He's pretty well hated, but they know he's effective.
Well, what's everybody's opinion on how many votes do you think Kanye West is going to get?
Wow.
Oh, God. He's not even in the ballot in most states, is he?
Minnesota. I didn't actually have him on the ballot. I thought he was. I thought he made it.
He was. He was here.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wanted to write in for the Supreme Court. A lot of people were uncontested, and I really wanted to write in D's nuts, but I didn't do it. I was gonna start trying to have fun with it, and then I'm like, no, you gotta take it seriously, man. Don't write in D's nuts because no one's gonna think that's funny. But I noticed that D's nuts was not on the ballot, so I was a little confused about that.
You know, I'd be willing to bet that there's enough people that write in D's nuts that there's probably an official count somewhere.
Vote for these.
Vote for these.
I wonder if you could win like a small local election if you changed your name to D's Nuts and just like ran solely based on that. I wonder if you could get enough votes. Like
You might. You live in the right town.
So many opportunities with slogans and. Hey Dan, do you like free CDs?
Me?
Yeah.
Of course I like free CDs.
Feel free to CD's nuts.
Ah, very wise.
I mean,
Did you walk into that knowing what was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, because I was like, okay, CDs, we're still doing those. Yeah, it was pretty. I certainly wasn't gonna.
Way to play along, Dan. Way to play along.
Way to play it.
Does that? Do we want to talk about how the votes are coming in now, or do we want to ignore it?
I don't know. What do you think, Dan? Are you watching this or something?
I've got a Google window open in another browser tab, just kind of keeping an eye on it. And again, I don't think we'll know conclusively tonight at all.
Well, tell me if I'm right. If I had to guess, it's the polls and this and that, and it's like Biden's up by 2 points or 12 points, depending on. But these numbers don't really mean anything. Isn't that kind of what's going on right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I'd take a little.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot of states that we know we're going to go blue have already been counted, and a lot of states that we knew were going to go red have already been counted. And it's mostly on the East Coast because the polls have closed in a lot of East states.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now Biden's up by about 20, but again, it means nothing. And
better than 10.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of in the last, presidential election, how many Hillary Clinton was up by before it turned around and, and got called for Trump. And there's always the possibility it gets called for Biden and then Trump takes it to the Supreme Court, which he has pretty thoroughly.
Oh my God.
He's made all the threats already. Yeah,
Yeah, he said he's
Sort
going
of recount and all that stuff. I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's going to come into play, isn't it? It's like, oh, you got to recount those, and really, does the system work or not? I don't know.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Can you buy the presidency? Because it seems like that's what's happening with Donald Trump.
With his negative billions.
Right. I don't think it's his money that's buying it. I think it's money from Russia. It's money from,
it's loans. It's debt. Fucking, he doesn't care. How many false promises does one need?
Have you seen the Bearcats?
Elect a reality show host to be president. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got a little frustrated there, but
So I have a question mainly for Dave that's tangential from the election but not directly related. Is have you written any songs about 2020? And if not, do you think you will?
that's a good question. I was thinking about it, and then I was thinking, oh my God, there's two words people don't want to hear, and one is Corona, and two is Trump. I said his name again. So it's pretty. I think it's too fresh somehow, because I just don't want to hear people, especially from my point of view. I'm just sarcastic and cynical and extremely poetic. I'm kidding. But no, as I told people when we were talking about this during the last, the Corona is not inspiring. It just isn't. Nobody wants to write a song about a pandemic. Maybe someday they will. I think you'll get what you're going to get is like some of the things that happened in 2020 are mostly things that the average person wants to forget, and there's going to be little reminders of what this was like 10 years from now, and hopefully 10 years from now it won't be worse or exactly the same. I hate to say it, but I'm not afraid to take it to the streets or whatever.
I mean, I was just thinking, like, if anybody could write like and I mean this from a lyrical standpoint, not a musical standpoint, like a Woody Guthrie type, song that embodies how we feel about 2020 without hitting those topics on the nose, you'd be one songwriter that could do that.
Yeah, I got it. I'm working on that. Yeah, I think it'll come out eventually out of me.
It's just
painful as it may seem. It's not. These are not the times of let them eat jelly beans and Jello Biafra, and I mean it's just different. But that's where I come from, is kind of this punk rock background where you never veil your political beliefs. You put them out there. You put them basically scream them at people. So
Right. Mm-hmm.
it's could be time. Oh, a shit year anthem, is that? I mean, I heard somebody say that this was the worst year ever, and I don't know. I mean, I talked about that before. What if you just had a baby and you got put on leave from your job, or what if you just fell in love and then you got 8 months off of work to just be together. I mean, that would be an upside, I suppose.
Mhm.
But the rest of it sucks. So, yeah, I'll try to figure it out. I mean, I haven't included, SARS or swine flu or something like that in a song. It just doesn't. A lot of things probably rhyme with swine flu, and you start talking about how beautiful pigs are or whatever. But, yeah, not so inspired, and pretty, just trying to be. I'm ready. I'm trying to get ready for the fallout if Biden doesn't win. And then it's just going to seem like 4 more years of the same old shit, which you got to mix it up a little bit. You got to change the pasta, as they say. Yeah.
It might get mixed up. It might become way shittier. Right?
I mean, not to make this a whole doom and gloom episode, but I mean, I'll admit to being really concerned about what happens with the next 4 years if he wins. If he just gets a rubber stamp to keep doing everything that he's doing, I mean, so many people are going to get hurt. I mean, I was watching a clip on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver talking about asylum and the people that are escaping like deathly violence in their countries trying to get in, and the lawyers at the border are telling them, like, wait till November 3rd. And then they're saying, well, what if Trump's reelected, and I'm gonna have to go back to my country and I'm gonna be murdered. It's life and death for some people. I'm not, I'll be pleasantly surprised if the election has the outcome we want, but I'm I think I'll be fine for the next 4 years if Trump wins again, but I think a lot of people probably won't.
That's a funny question. Luckily, SA was the last live show I saw before COVID. What was your last show? The LA show for me. Same show.
Last show I saw was when I was
it's all the same. That we got home and the pandemic had started, so none of us had time to go see other bands. We were just home.
We got off that tour bus and it was a different world. It was like everything was boarded up and stores were empty.
Right.
And I mean, we were in our own little satellite going around the country in this bus, so it was kind of shocking. I mean, I didn't go into a supermarket until we got back, and I had no idea.
Yeah, I think because of the being on the road and being on the bus thing, we were even more tuned out to the news than most people. So I think once we did become aware of what was going on, it was already pretty far along, and we were just all like,
we started the virus.
We were getting it every day.
it was the meet and greets. I think the meet and greets did it.
Hello.
Shaking hands, kissing babies,
That was it.
I didn't.
Sorry.
I didn't know you had tour dates all across Asia and Europe. Then this is what was the
world tour, Dan?
Yeah, what was the last day of the tour?
Well, it ended up being LA.
Angeles.
Yeah.
Do you remember the date?
I think it was the 13th or the 12th. Maybe it was the 11th. It's one of those.
The Tarragon Ballroom.
Right.
It's Margaret spelled backwards.
Telegram.
Terrible.
Yeah.
It was the 12th because I remember it was Friday.
It was the 12th.
That we got.
It was the 12th. Okay.
We got canceled on Friday the 13th. I did not know that.
Yeah.
But it was a very ominous knock on the door I got from Janine that said, this tour is ended. Very upset.
What you were expecting to hear, probably.
Isn't that every time?
Tour.
I mean,
we're going.
March 11 was the last show.
There you go.
Yeah, I was just trying to remember the because it seemed like, I can't speak for anybody else. I heard about COVID back in January when it was just in China, and then when it first came to the U.S. in February, and then once it came to the U.S., it just seemed like everything happened really quickly. Like it seemed like it was just a matter of days or weeks between it coming to the U.S. and then suddenly everything shutting down. And I know my church shut down and tour was canceled. And I'm trying to remember the sequence of things.
11.
It seemed like it happened very, I remember talking to Michael when he was on tour, and I remember when he got the news that it was, and I think that must have been right before my church closed down, and then a few weeks later I was in the hospital with COVID. So everything happened really, really quickly.
How was that for you?
In what way, Dave?
Well, the people that I know that have had COVID, it's different for everybody. So I'm just wondering what your experience was like.
Well, I had one of the first like really severe cases in Wisconsin, and it was the first, at least in this state, in somebody that was supposedly young and healthy. I like your bobblehead there, Dave, by the way. I'm just now noticing that.
She is.
So yeah,
Last bastion.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
I thought that was.
Neighborhood?
Oh, I thought it was our RBG, but maybe that was
That's exactly
Meow meow kitty. Meow 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 meow. Meow meow.
favorite district, man. Anyway, man. So how long were you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not recovered to this day. I was very severe. I was in the ICU for almost a month, and I was in a coma for almost 2 weeks. And usually I round up because I can't remember the exact amounts of time, but I know Michael actually remembers the exact day counts, so I can't round up around him because he actually kept better track than I did.
23 days.
23 days in the ICU.
Good Lord.
11 days in a medicated coma.
And it was surreal because I had came out having to relearn how to walk and everything like that. And I'm still not back to normal. I'm going back into the hospital on Thursday, day after tomorrow, to do more. They're doing another angiogram of my heart to try to figure out what kind of permanent damage was done. COVID is no joke. Not everybody gets it as serious as I did, but you can. And again, I'm an example of that because again, I had no pre-existing conditions, and I'm under 40, and so nobody thought at the time that I was going to have a severe case of it. They tried to send me home from that. They rejected me from the hospital 3 times, and then they tried to send me home on the first day because they just figured that when you're young and healthy, you can't get that sick. And now we know otherwise.
I still think that your sinus infection had something to do with it, man.
I'm not ruling anything out. Dr. Nikki said no. So, I mean, I don't want to argue with Dr. Nikki.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll answer Patty's question though while we're talking about it. Yeah, I have lots of long-term effects. So again, I may or may not look it, but I was in really good shape before I got sick. I was very active. I'm a touring musician, so I was moving my own gear all the time. I can't do heavy lifting now. I can't walk more than a couple of blocks without getting winded. I still am really tired all the time. What they think that there's some sort of damage to my heart that's causing it not to pump blood properly, and so I'm not getting what I need. But they can't figure it out. They know that my blood pressure is much higher than it was before COVID, and they think it's either blood clot somewhere or something like that.
You don't want that. That's not a good option.
No, they're trying to figure it out, and I keep going back. I go to the hospital every week or every couple of weeks for a new test while they're trying to figure it out. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I've told people, like, people think this election can't affect you personally, but anybody can get COVID. Anybody can get as sick as I did. Anybody can die from it, and who's in the White House definitely affects how we handle the pandemic. There's a good chance I bet that the majority of people wouldn't have gotten it if somebody else had been handling the pandemic. So,
well, there's an interesting sort of, I don't know if I call it a segue, but I'd also like to say I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope you have a speedier recovery. And how is your health care?
So that's another thing that we can talk about. We want to talk about politics. I mean, I have health insurance. I'm lucky enough to have it. My wife works a corporate job. I'm a musician, which, as everybody here knows, doesn't automatically come with health insurance. But I have health insurance through my wife's job, and even with health insurance, I'm still fighting with the insurance company and with the hospital over some pretty big bills. And I mean, the worst case scenario is that I've already succeeded in getting them lowered quite a bit. And at the end of the day, if I have to pay, I have to pay. Because when I found out what my hospitalization cost versus what they're charging me, I was, at first I was like, what? I've got a bill for, $3,000 here, $6,000 there. That's ridiculous. And then I logged in to the insurance company website to see what they actually billed for the whole thing, and it was like $300,000. And I was like, okay, well, if I end up having to pay, I've got it negotiated down to what I owe to under 10 grand. So if I end up having to pay that, it is what it is. I'm happy to be alive. But yeah, the U.S. healthcare system is not great. That somebody with health insurance can, who's doing essentially nothing wrong to cause his own health issues, can be then hospitalized and still come out of it with, thousands of dollars in bills. It's it's another reason why it's important to go out and vote and vote for candidates who believe in healthcare reform and universal healthcare.
So this is weird because so you believe in Obamacare? I love what it was supposed to be. There have been so many court fights over the years to take away some of the best provisions about it. It's still, I think it's important for everybody who doesn't realize Obamacare isn't a healthcare plan. It's a healthcare law, or a bunch of healthcare laws. And like, for example, for me, the provision in the Affordable Care Act that says you can't be denied care to a pre-existing condition. If I ever wanted to switch my health insurance in the future, which I'm going to want to do because our healthcare plan is not great, without that law, I could be denied coverage because now I have a pre-existing condition. I'd had COVID. And they could just simply deny me healthcare if they wanted to without that law. And if the Trump administration is successful in striking down that law, then yeah, that'll make it a lot harder for people like me to get healthcare. And so I definitely support it. I think it was a step in the right direction, but by itself, it's not, I believe what we really need is single payer healthcare. And I hope that I live to see the day when we get it. You think you will?
I don't know, because they're doing it. That'd be a huge shift for the country. Despite the fact that the majority of U.S. voters seem to want it, it would mean fundamentally changing a lot of things about our government and about our healthcare system, and the way our country is set up. We're essentially opposed to fundamental change.
All right. Well, here's a couple problems I have with Joe Biden. First of all, this build bigger, best, better thing sounds like Melania Trump's thing, be best. And his slogan should be, come on, man. Because that's one of my favorite things that he says. However, as far as Obamacare goes, I heard him say Biden care. And I think the dumbest thing you can do is name your health care plan after yourself. Because the opponent's going to come in and go, I don't like that because it's got his name attached to it. And that's an obsession for Trump. He just is like, I need Trump care because I don't like that guy. And just personalizing it seems like a terrible idea. Affordable health care, that's cool. All that's good.
Yeah, that's what it was called originally. They called it Obamacare. Obama didn't put his name on it.
He didn't put his name. That was attached, yeah.
Mm-hmm. To probably an attempt to ridicule.
Yeah. And then whether or not it was a mistake, he decided to try to own it after they did it. He's like, you know, they're going to call it Obamacare, so I'll call it Obamacare. And I mean, you can argue that that was a mistake.
I would argue that.
Yeah.
Obama should have called it Trump Care. Now that was somewhere. How am I doing?
I mean, you raise a good point, because now I'm thinking, like, if you passed a law, or if you wrote a law rather, and it doesn't matter what the law was about, if you wrote it if you made it the Be Nice to Children bill, and the bill has nothing to, it's a healthcare bill, or it's a
Right.
police reform bill, or it's nothing, but it's
Right?
like, if you just name it the Be Nice to Children bill, and then if anybody votes against it, you can say, oh, they're against being nice to children, or, you know.
What the fuck is wrong with that guy? He doesn't like kids.
So
Kids first. Kids' lives matter. Whatever. Do it for the kids, man. I mean, no one wants to see a kid have a serious health issue and die from it. Maybe they don't care so much about us type of guys, but that's fair enough. I mean, if Ryan's child has a health problem, I want her to have better health care than Ryan does, because if Ryan dies, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I gotta pee.
And with that, he's out.
yeah,
Good, thank you. That's my time. Good night.
right.
He's working on his.
Yeah. Fuck Ryan and then walk out.
Yeah. Well,
Is that how things normally are in rehearsal too, Ryan?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same.
And then Ruth comes out. Is that Ruth?
Yeah, he's got Ruth in his place every time.
Every time.
He could do worse. So
timing.
yeah, what can we say? What do you guys want to say behind Dave's back while he's not here?
We say everything we need to say. We say to Dave's face.
Yeah, right.
He can account to that. Yeah, they're mean to me.
Yeah, we're probably nicer behind his back.
Accurate.
Probably
Isn't that
it's better about him.
Isn't that what true friends do, though?
I think so. Maybe, yeah. Right.
I mean, everybody that I'm a good friend with, Michael included, I'll say all kinds of shit when they can hear me, and then behind their back is when I say all the nice things.
Yeah, right. If someone asks you about him or whatever, that's when you're nice about it. Right.
Yeah.
He's a bum.
You guys have any rehearsals scheduled, or?
Oh yeah.
We can chip in.
It's a general sort of. It's on incessantly.
That's the one thing I really miss right now is rehearsal.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we're still doing stuff at the church. We're doing the limited services and the streaming services and stuff like that, but we're not doing any rehearsals. I've taken maybe I'm trying to think, less than a half dozen small socially distanced gigs, since this started, but I've not had one single rehearsal since March. And everything that I've done has just been show up and play, because we don't want to risk putting people together more than we have to.
Sure.
And I get it, and I agree with. And again, with my church job, I've been one of the main people making that decision, and I think it's the right decision when you got as many people. It's not we're not talking about a 4-piece band. We're talking about singers and.
Well, fiddle is a big deal, man. There's no singing in church, Dan. You know that. People spit all over each other.
Yeah. What I really miss more than anything is rehearsal. I miss it so much.
Yeah.
I've told this band many times my favorite thing to do is rehearse, because that's fun. Now, if you show up unrehearsed to the gig, then you're kind of like, wow, I wish we would have rehearsed, and you don't want that,
Jake, I thought I heard you say you same like me. You only go to rehearsal and home pretty much.
Me, I feel like, I forget exactly what we were talking about, but I feel like we were discussing rehearsal, and I feel like I do all my learning at home. I go to rehearsal to hopefully not have to learn anything and be able to just play the things that are being rehearsed. obviously fix anything as we go along, but
people, 4 strings.
Yeah, I was.
only got 4.
No,
Only
I
use one at a
meant
time.
you don't really go out much. Like that's the only place you go.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's almost true without a pandemic. With a pandemic, it's really true. I mean, I almost literally, outside of maybe going up to the corner gas station for snacks and whatnot, I pretty much only go to rehearsal, and I'm down here in my home studio pretty much the entire rest of all day, every day. Right? I'm not out and about going anywhere.
Very much the highlight of my week.
It is, yeah. I really do. I really look forward to rehearsal.
Fuck that up, Dan. Put a bunch of people in your practice space with cameras in your face and recording devices, and just make it really more uptight than a gig. That really makes me Jones for just playing a show.
Wow.
Wow.
Violin.
Yeah, that's the smallest violin. Do we have a teeny tiny violin for that? How are you a superstar, but the camera makes you nervous?
This is true.
He's got you there.
Was that in response to the comment? I didn't put it on the screen. I can though, about what if Soul Asylum fans got to see a rehearsal? Is that what were you responding to that, or is that coincidental?
No,
Coincidental.
I didn't see that at all, but they're gonna see a rehearsal.
They're seeing a rehearsal if they come to a show.
You never know, right?
Hey,
Depends on the show.
punk rock is a strange spirit. It can take over things, and
You like watching people fuck stuff up, man. I mean, personally, it doesn't.
yeah, I'm saying it might be their thing.
I mean, I like, for myself and for others, I like seeing the process. You know, I enjoy that sometimes more than the finished product. I like seeing how things are made. And just like you were talking about Mr. Rogers earlier, and he would tour the widget factory where they make widgets, you know.
I love how it's made. That's one of my favorite shows.
And
That's a show how it's made, you know.
I like seeing rehearsal. I like, especially for musicians and artists and, you know, plays and anything else that I look up to. I really like seeing the process. And sometimes I use that as a learning experience for me to be like, okay, so this is how they do it. That's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
I understand the Colt Carlson family. You know who I'm talking about? There's this parent and his kids are in a band, and I believe his name is Colt Carlson and the Quarantine Kids. And for their 100th, they did their 100th episode, just like me and Ryan. Wait, pound it, Ryan. All right. Again, that was pretty cool. Wait, we went the wrong way.
Yeah. Other hand.
Wait.
Other hand.
Other hand, Dave.
Other way.
Just okay.
There you
Pound it. Now get your hand.
Who told Diane we blew the car at the rehearsal space?
That almost. Okay, we got it. Ready? Pound it, Ryan.
Pretty cool how my hand got into your screen.
Well,
Yeah.
we got it. We provide the magic, you know.
Really great special effects on the show tonight.
Thank you.
We actually all live together. We're all in the same house. We're pretending.
Exactly. It's like the real world.
Band houses used to be a thing, didn't they?
Oh yeah, I lived in a band house for a while. Yep, it was a thing.
Everybody should do it.
I
Just
lived in a-
just for like, you know, it's like waiting in line for something. Yeah, it's more like camping, and you don't get out of the woods until you learned at least enough songs to play.
Right.
And like you're stuck in the house with the people in band, so you never get to go away from them. That's an experience everyone should have. And I wanted it to be like the Monkees. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Monkees show, but apparently they all live together. It's a bad model because it's not even a real band, you know.
Oh, right. I guess so. But I was going to say, isn't the tour bus essentially the same thing?
I was thinking that.
It's just squeezed. Yeah, we're 7 people, 8 people.
Yeah, it's the smallest
tube.
ever. Right.
I mean, it's one of the things that I always tell like aspiring musicians, and I think that everybody here could testify. Like, until you get to like a private jet level of fame and fortune, there's nothing glamorous about touring.
No.
It's you're in you know, sleeping when you can, mainly on the bus. You get to shower in the hotel room briefly, eating what you can, smelling everybody's farts. You know, it's
Speaks the truth.
Yeah, he is speaking the truth.
I got it. And
Yeah, it sucks. Driving a van for fucking 12 years.
The bus is definitely better than the van, Dave, right?
Yeah, right. That is one huge upgrade for sure.
I never did the van.
Much better.
I did years in a van.
you did van. You toured in a van in other groups, though, right, Michael?
Not really, no.
You told the story on that Pods and Sods podcast about being on tour with those guys in their van. That must have been a very short tour, but
What's Pods and Sods?
there was a guy that you were in a band with after that you produced them.
Catch Penny?
Maybe I don't know the name of the band.
Is that the one with Chris Schaff?
The Life Uncharted or something like that.
Yeah, that's what their series is called, Pods and Sods. It's a Life Uncharted or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, that was just a couple of local gigs. They didn't tour across the country. They just went to like Mankato.
But sorry.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same concept, even if it's not as big of a tour. It's just being stuck in a van, you know, and
not being. It was just like a weekend jaunt. It wasn't like we didn't even stay overnight. I think we played I might have rode with them to Okoboji and did some gig out that way, and I think I had my own room, but I think I probably went back even before the sun went up. Before the sun came up, I was probably back here.
Right. Not the same as like 6 weeks in a van. And when we get to the hotel room, it was one room and we all climbed in there. And
Mm-hmm.
Of all time.
Yeah. Play the show, get back to the hotel at 3 a.m., get up at 7 a.m. to start driving to the next city.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you get there to load out. I've done that for like.
Yeah, I know you have. Yeah.
Smith can tell you all about it. That's a different situation.
I've done that as well.
Yeah.
Although with me,
Mayor Fry has just announced that this has 2 hours ago that this is the most Minneapolis has ever voted ever.
nice.
228,000 votes, up from 2016. The previous record was 219,000, and it's not even over yet. So
It's not over.
everyone's voting more than ever. I have not seen a Trump sign anywhere remotely close to where I live. So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Minnesota is faithfully a blue state. I don't like it when Trump goes to Bemidji and tries to convince all these people. Actually, it kind of drives me crazy, you know. Whether it's Trump going to iron towns and going, I'm going to bring back iron, which I guess is what he was doing in Duluth. I mean, you're just making more promises that you can't keep. What does that mean?
Well, I think that his audience is on the outskirts of town. It's not the Twin Cities. It's Owatonna, it's Bemidji, it's Duluth. That's where his people are at.
This is Minnesota?
This is all.
Yeah, Biden's up 26 points right now.
In
That's
Minnesota, all of Minnesota, is that right?
Everywhere.
We haven't called Minnesota.
Oh yeah, Minnesota has not been called. Whatever that means.
We're at 50% versus 47 for Trump.
Anybody want to say hi to Janine? Hi, Janine.
Hey,
What's your name? So last time you were Dave was on the show, Janine, you commented about healthcare, and a lot of people really liked it. You want to say anything on the record this time, Janine? We lost her.
She is kind of RBG of Soul Asylum, I'll tell you that.
I mean, it's polls are closed here now, so it's too late to say go vote. But I hope we did an okay job of that already. No, I used to tell.
I mean, everybody here, you know, myself, Michael, Dave, Soul Asylum as a whole, I think has done everything possible within our power to encourage people to go out and vote. I think everybody here can sleep well tonight, regardless of what happens, that we did more than our part.
It's pretty surreal as from last election when we were in Japan. It's a lot of
Oh, that's right.
That photo reappeared on Facebook where Dave and I were picking up paper and
right.
pop up the other day.
What a weird feeling being in Tokyo when Donald Trump gets elected president.
Oh, hi, G.
It was a mixed up and sad, disoriented feeling.
Yeah, we all just wanted to stay in Japan. We figured, why go back, right?
G-Man.
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 Is he on? Hey, G.
What's up, G? Where is he? Is he in the chat? I didn't see him.
Who are we looking for?
He texted.
Soundman.
Oh, I got it. It's our buddy Jared.
I'll look for him. I don't know who I'm looking for, though.
That's all right. Maybe he just texted.
It's all
Okay.
right. Yeah. I was in Chicago, and I remember I got to sleep, and then yeah, exactly. Corey Isham just narked me out. I got to sleep, and then I woke up and then we have the final result, and I heard him say Trump, and I just rolled over, man. I wanted to cry. I just wanted to cry.
Yeah, Shannon said she was in Disney when Trump became the president. We were almost in Disney then.
That's pretty surreal.
We just left Disney.
Oh yeah, we had just left Disney.
We just left.
3 or 4 shows at Disney, and then went to Japan. Right? Is that how that worked? Yeah.
Yeah, because of time travel and things, we didn't really learn about it until we got to Japan.
Yeah.
We went, back in time.
Right.
Yes, Mr. Pirner?
See my hand?
So, did anyone here, did you think that prior to the results, did you think Trump was going to win last time?
I did not. I was shocked. Honestly.
Me neither.
I didn't think it was going to happen.
I certainly didn't want him to, but I remember having a conversation with my wife and going, I don't know why, but I think this fool is going to win this thing. And I remember her just being like, no way, no chance. And I'm just like, I don't know. I got a bad feeling, you know.
I got a bad feeling.
And sure enough, he did. So.
I remember randomly running into Grant Hart that year. He was standing next to like a newspaper machine that had Donald Trump on the cover. This was probably, I don't know how many months before the election, and I was holding Skylar, my daughter, and he just looked at me and he's like, Ryan, he's going to become president and you're going to need to get that kid out of this country. And I remember looking at him being like, you're crazy. This is not going to happen. And sure enough, yeah, it's exactly what happened. I was completely surprised.
I'm trying to remember, and my wife might chime in. She might remember better than I did. I feel like I remember being really like.
Oh, there's the photo.
I didn't think he was going to win, but I thought he had a lot better chance to win than a lot of people were giving him.
Yeah.
It's probably hard to see what that is, but that is a picture of Dave and Ryan at a newsstand in Japan with the headline that Trump is now the president of the U.S.
See? I don't make this. You can't make this stuff up.
Here's a good Japanese one whose name we don't speak story. So me and Dave were walking outside of a train station a couple days into our trip, and we had gotten walked up to by 2 guys that I didn't realize that they have smoking police in Japan. There's only certain places you can and can't smoke, even outdoors. So we were outside of this train station. I light up a cigarette. All of a sudden, these 2 guys are just on top of me and Dave. No. You know, what are you doing? They pull out this little like portable ashtray out of their pocket and like took the cigarette and put it in there. They started talking to us, and the the one officer said, "Where are you guys from?" And I said, "Well, we're American. We're from America." And he just looked at both of us and he goes, "Ah, Trump."
Oh man.
Let's go.
You laughed right in our faces.
It was like, I don't need to take you guys in. You guys got enough of it.
Nia is giving up on hope, and I encourage her not to do it.
Maya, that was for you.
Yeah.
Maya, I'm sorry.
Don't give up, Maya.
So
Don't give up.
I'll address Patty's question, and anybody else can that wants to. Is we've had several political experts on the show
tonight
who have all said that we're not going to know tonight.
No. We won't know for at least 2 weeks.
It's going to take a while. Yep.
What?
How soon did we find out about Hillary?
Friday.
Oh, we found out that night.
They're predicting Friday. Okay, fine.
Well, the thing about it is, Dave, is that, Trump's going to try to push it as quickly as he can because that'll benefit him. The fewer votes get counted, the more likely it is that Trump is declared the winner. So he's going to try to use every club in his bag to try to cut off the counting, which could make it sooner rather than later.
That was a nice golf analogy, by the way, Dan.
Thank you. I don't golf at all, but I like analogies and metaphors.
Club in his bag, man. Hello. I understood the golf analogy. Maybe he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's got a lot of clubs in his bag. Something like that.
Sharpest knife in the drawer, brightest bulb in the chandelier. There's a few of them.
That's pretty funny.
That's a good question here. How long did it take with Bush versus Gore? How long did that go on for?
That went on forever.
Yeah.
That was at least a week, 2 weeks.
He asked, he's the trivia guy. He should know.
Oh, well, G should know.
She asked me questions I know the answer to.
The answer up, G.
Well, he didn't actually ask. I turned it into a question.
True. It was more of a statement.
Yeah.
What?
That was a statement, not a question.
Right.
That was from somebody that we know too. I recognize that name.
Gremlin?
Oh, is that his real name?
That's his real name. He goes by Jared as a nickname.
It's a
Terrible.
I have a question regarding black musicians. Do you think that, I don't remember who all came out for Trump, but, obviously it was Kanye West, and obviously, I don't know, Ice Cube was in there for some reason.
Lil Pump?
Blood, like P. Diddy, and like, do you think that for the first time ever, not ever, but you know what I mean, these guys are looking at their taxes and they're like, I want to give more money to the government, fuck that. And maybe that turns the most liberal, uber rich black guy into a Trump supporter because he likes the tax breaks. Am I wrong?
Am I supposed to answer that?
At least first. At least you should go first, if not only. Or Michael.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a black man's burden, I'd say that my feeling is that probably in 50 Cent's case, I would say so. But I really feel like Ice Cube thought that he was just ready for whoever was going to listen. And I don't know who I was a non-elected representative of black people everywhere, and I get it that Ice Cube may have felt like he needed to do something, but speaking personally, I don't need Ice speaking for me. I'm not sure what his motive. He may have been trying to help, but he's been saying a lot of incendiary things about a lot of things lately, and he's not the one. Not now.
He has a voice and he's using it.
Yeah, but when you go and say black people want this, black people, that's presumptive.
That's how I learned the monolith expression.
Exactly. Black people are not a monolith, Dave. We think freely and we think for ourselves. And so it's, you know, it's like, well, hey man, okay, you may have things you're interested in, but like if you're not a voted in official, you can't speak for everybody.
Well, I don't really understand that. Either you're voting for what you believe in, or you're voting for yourself. And if you're voting for yourself,
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're voting for who's going to take less of your money. And it's all, I got money on my mind, and that's what matters. And it's been explained to a point where, you know, I don't even know, you know, I mean, let's say you're Jay-Z and Beyonce. Of course they supported Obama. But then they're going, oh, well, what if Joe Biden takes 40% of our income? Then, you know, they're the uber rich. And that doesn't distinguish them from, you know, their skin color doesn't matter at that point. They're just super rich people. And, you know, people will vote for whatever they want, but rich people will probably skew Republican because no one likes paying taxes, especially for what we get in return. And I would back that. You know,
yeah, that's fair. I mean,
taxes.
If it's a matter of taxes and whatever loopholes you can manage so you can hold on to your money a little longer, I'm not against that. But I mean, it really comes down to, you know, what's driving you.
Yeah, well, you do what Trump did. You start a college, you start a million different write-offs, and you make it very confusing. And that's why he's not showing anybody his taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the top 3 issues for you guys? Like, do you think about healthcare, foreign policy? You think about, you know, what is it that you look for? I can't believe I'm saying this. What is it that you look for in a president? Ryan, you go first.
Well, right now, I feel like we need a leader that's going to, this sounds a little hokey when I say this, but it's so true. We need somebody that's going to make people feel more united and listen to voices of people that are feeling like they are unheard. So I think there's nothing more divisive than what's been going on in the last 4 years. So socially, that's a huge thing for me. I also look for healthcare for sure. I think that healthcare is a mess, and we all know that. There's no doubt. And I think that climate change is something that gets talked about, not as much as it probably should, because everything else would be irrelevant if the planet's not here in so many years. Good. So really, like how much money anybody has or how healthy anyone is not even going to matter. So, so I would go with looking for a leader that unites the country, lets voices that are not heard have a voice. Looking for healthcare, climate change. I don't know. For me, those are the big things. So I just noticed the screen got big there. That was
I finally figured out how to do that. How many episodes have we done, Michael? I finally figured out how to do that.
That's awesome.
You figured it out about 2 episodes ago.
Wait, Jeremy, what do you look for?
Oh no, he's gonna big screen me. No, there it is. I think that I mean, for me personally, as a guy who is literally much like the rest of everyone here, only played music my whole life. I've never really held a real job. I don't currently have health insurance, and haven't really since I was living with my parents as a young dude 20 years ago. So that's a huge one to me, is being able to put. So yeah, there you go. It is a real job. Just doesn't really pay real money all the time. Anyway. But yeah, healthcare is a huge one, and like Ryan said, like this whole last 4 years of like this teams thing. Like I know it's always been a little bit of teams and red and blue, but it's just gotten too crazy. It's not us and them.
Whoa.
Only us. We all live here together. We all got to ride this thing out together the same way, no matter who the next president is. And the separate, like I would like to see the separation go away, and I would like for people to just realize, like, you know, we all just live on this patch of dirt together, and we got to get off these. We got to get off these teams that have us at war, because that's not going to get us literally anywhere but over with. You know.
Sure.
Wow, the contributions are pouring in, which I think is really awesome. Other people are giving us their opinions, which is, I guess, what we're trying to do here. A functioning adult that won't incite a functioning adult. That's
Right.
also a good one.
Yeah, put the other one back up. Sorry, Dave.
Won't incite civil world wars while bored on the toilet.
Right.
Okay,
Pretty much McDonald's.
you know, you know. Michael, your turn.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, since I've been only a musician my whole life. Yeah, healthcare is a big concern. I guess, you know, sometimes the policies on immigration kind of make me upset. You know, I think I believe that this really is a country of immigrants. I mean, the only people who don't admit it or understand that seem to be, you know, white people en masse. You know, especially those ones who want to tell everybody where to go back to. You didn't start here either. So that's real beef for me. I don't know what else really comes to mind. Yeah, I agree with the fact that it needs to be somebody decent, somebody who's, you know, who's at least a B student. You know, I think that, you know, Obama was probably the smartest president we had in a long while, although some stuff he didn't address that I wish he would have. Like I voted for Obama first term. You know, although I asked myself, like, why do you want this job? You know, the country is jacked up right now. You want to being the first black anything is bad news, and you know, all black people know that. But you know, I think he was naive to think that the Republican Party wasn't just going to fold their arms and just, you know, let whatever he came to the table with just fail, even if they were for it. They were now going to be against it. I think he did a better job second term, you know, but what I did appreciate was at least I felt like he's somebody who I could learn something from, who was smart enough, you know, to possibly do some things that I couldn't. I feel like with Trump, it's like, yeah, all right, man. You know, I know a hustler when I see one. And that's one way to get things done, but Obama could have never been a hustler, not like that. Are you kidding? I mean, I get it. It's all politicians. You know, it's a funny occupation to choose, and it's a funny space to be in. But you know, while they're talking about, oh well, we like Trump because he's not a politician, he's not a career politician, he's unvarnished and he's real. I don't want it that way. Lie to me a little bit. Act like you care. Something. Show some empathy somehow. Don't just lie, you know, in front of the fact checkers, and you know, he's just so brazen, you know. And I don't want the truth, but I want to at least believe that you're trying to tell it.
Well, the word that I always look for is humanitarian. I think the people could respond to somebody who they can relate to. And for some reason, people relate to Humpty Dumpty. And it seems misguided to me because he has this thing where, well, if I can be rich, anyone can be rich. And people actually believe that. But that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So yeah, I mean, the environment, huge issue. You know, these people are climate deniers or whatever you want to call them, and there's your basic human rights and you know, compassion. Things that I don't see in Donald Trump. I see somebody that people want to be like because he's an asshole, and people believe in that. Like there was one point where I thought, well, if everybody in the music industry is going to be an asshole, then I need an asshole as a manager to fight with the other assholes. Then you're just being represented by an asshole. I don't know how many times I can use that word without being redundant, but you know, I tend to believe that the reputation of America has pretty much been kind of destroyed in the last 4 years, and the foreign policy question is a pretty big deal to me. So I would like to see something change in a way that we're not an embarrassment. I feel like people are very happy that they don't have to let Americans into their countries anymore. Because ever since I started traveling around the world, I started understanding what the expression ugly American means.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you all know what that means.
Yes.
And Donald Trump is the epitome of what that means. I don't want to be represented by that, you know. I want to go to another country and feel comfortable. And so that's important to me. And healthcare and oh my God, there's so many things that are wrong. And I gotta give the humanitarians the benefit of the doubt. And those are people that care about people, and that's not what I'm getting from politics at all. It was power trips and whatever. You know, who cares? That's it. That's my speech.
Well,
Somebody threw a question up. Let me see if I can find it. That was pretty on point for what we're just talking about. I'm looking for the question, but basically they're asking that other than Obama, who would be, oh, here we go. Other than Obama, who was a historically genuine president, and why do you believe so?
I'll go first. My mother had a crush on John F. Kennedy, and I'm going with him because to some degree, you got to believe in what your mom says. That's my answer. Who's next? I'm going with JFK.
I was going to say JFK way before my time. I just know that he's well respected well after his time, which doesn't seem to be the case for a lot of other presidents. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I only really remember as far back as Reagan in my brain. So
I get it.
Actor.
Mm-hmm. I got to pick Carter.
Say it again.
Jimmy Carter.
I love Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. Hard to not. I mean, even to this day, he's still out building. Isn't he still doing
Yes.
humanity or whatever they call it?
What?
Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
Habitat. Right.
He strikes me as a humanitarian.
Yeah.
That's good quality to have.
Yeah.
Uncorrupted. A lot of people said that he was a docile president, but I don't know why he didn't get reelected, because I remember watching him on TV. He's wearing a sweater. He going, everybody turn your heat down a little bit lower, and like, blah, 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 things like that. But yeah, I miss that angle in politics, because it doesn't seem to be there anymore. I think people want somebody to do everything for them in a way that is just get me more money. And that's it. And that's what we've been reduced to.
Sure.
Sad.
Yeah, Carter's my choice.
Good
Ryan,
show.
Brian?
Oh, well, I want to start by saying I think that every president in history seems like a genius right now in relative comparison.
Not George W.
Compared to Trump, I'll take George W.
No. Don't take him just because he wasn't as smart.
But I'm gonna go with Michael on Carter, and part of that is because a lot of the other great presidents in history, so many other things come out about them later that, at least through like a modern lens, like these things are no longer acceptable, or there's so many things that it's hard, even with like Lincoln, even. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't. So I'm gonna go with Carter, and I would say that Obama was like a president that was inspiring. I felt like he was someone you could look up to, and he's someone that I felt like I could tell my child that that's like someone you should aspire to be like. And you can't do that now. I can't do that. I can't tell my daughter that this is what you should try to be like. You should try to be like the president of the United States. You can make excuses after excuses for what's happening, but it's not any kind of role model for anyone. It's
what about Kamala down deep down in the ocean, blue like a barnacle? I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? Nothing. If is elected president and he dies, a lot of people would probably have a problem with Kamala Harris being president, but I think it would be great. It would solve the whole problem of woman president, this, that, and the other thing. She's a smart egg, She's the smartest person in the room a lot of the time, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, Dave, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, was she who you hoped Biden would pick as his vice presidential choice?
I guess in a weird way, yes. I didn't expect him to pick her, but I thought she was.
Me neither. The way
I thought
he integrated him on the debates, I thought
she was shining.
Yeah.
Got charisma and like things that don't involve whoever you are or wherever it is you come from or whatever. She's just smart, and I guess that's my number one. I want a president who's smart.
Yeah. Same here. When Obama took over after Bush, it was like somebody was, you speak my language. I might as well have been a foreigner, talking to somebody from a completely different country. And Obama came out and was like, okay, great. Sentences. Real language being used. Okay, I can do that. Great. Instead of, we're going to get you.
Fool me once.
Fool me once and fool you.
Yeah.
Won't get fooled again. GW, plenty of laughs, but I'll give him one thing. When that dude tried to throw that shoe at him, man, he was spry.
He ducked that shoe.
GW, he saw that shoe coming. He ducked. GW got moves.
I think the thing about the presidency is I think it makes average intelligence people look dumb. I think it makes smart people look average intelligence, and I think it makes geniuses look smart. Like, I think it's such a hard and fast-paced job that, like, and I think I'm a pretty smart person, but I think I'd look dumb as the president, because all it takes is to get caught off guard with the wrong question, and you're on camera and you can't answer it, and and now you're the laughing stock of the world, or at least you were before Trump made that his whole like method. I think, and I'm not in any way defending George Bush. I just think that like that's the thing about the presidency. I think it requires, to do it well and to do it right, it requires so much smarter a person than the average American.
Yeah.
Before Trump. And now Trump's schedule is watch Fox News, complain, argue, and eat fast food. But if you ever looked at the schedule from the Obama White House or the Clinton White House or even the Bush White House, like they're up at 5 a.m. getting briefings. They're not getting to bed till midnight. It's meeting after meeting after phone call after. I'm like, it's a really, really hard job if you actually give a fuck about it.
Well, yeah, and Trump don't. And that's the basic mantra. I was just thinking to myself, the debate I would have wanted to see was Obama and Trump. That would have been, man, that would have been heavy.
And not to like second guess who we're hoping wins tonight or anything like that. And I had a different choice in the primaries, and I think we all know that. Mm-hmm. And I know that she did not want to run, and I understand and appreciate her reasons for not running. But I really wish that Michelle Obama would have run for president against Donald Trump, because now that's what I would have wanted to see. Because Obama is a polished politician, but Michelle's from Chicago, and you can still kind of tell that just a little bit.
Well, no, Kamala got her head moving on Pence when he tried to cut her off. She got that black woman head. Her hair was bouncing and behaving. I'm speaking right now. Everybody know when that black head started moving. Oh, okay, all right. Let's let her have the floor. I'm talking right now. Her hair was.
Yeah. Can I finish the question? Can I finish what I was saying?
Did we cut you off?
Yeah, I was doing an impression of how people.
Oh. Sorry.
Trump likes to talk over people, and Pence tried, and Kamala Harris was like, "I'm not done talking." Mm-hmm. That was it was the constant sort of "you're trying to talk over me" thing, and that's their only strategy, which I find hilarious.
Juvenile tactics. I agree, Dave. It's juvenile what they try, right? But it's effective. It's like a problem child in the class. Like they're doing stupid stuff in the back row, but they're making even the genius in the class crack up.
That was a great one. Mm-hmm. America doesn't deserve Michelle Obama as president.
I'm sorry, didn't leave it up there for long enough.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I mean, she seemed like the smartest person in the room besides him. Seems extremely educated, qualified for the job. Every other job, you have to have a certain amount of experience, and Donald Trump has none. So you got to go to college, and you got to look at Kamala Harris' record. Is unbelievable as far as what she's accomplished in her life. If you look at Donald Trump's record, it has nothing to do with any of this. And, Michelle Obama seems super bright to me. And I was very, I usually I like Ralph Nader, I like nerds. I love Bernie Sanders. I think he's great. Michelle Obama, she's a smart cookie, and I wish she was president. Although Maya said we don't deserve her, and she's probably right. Is that her name, Maya?
Yeah, you got it.
She's the executive producer of the show.
Is she the one that made those masks that we have?
No.
Someone named Maya made us masks. Okay, no.
Oh. Maya, you got to make masks now for Soul Asylum.
Wow.
Anyway,
so
I totally agree with the. I really was wishing that Michelle Obama would run for president. I knew it was a long shot, but I'm like, she should run. Hillary Clinton ran because her husband was president. She sure fucked that up. What?
I mean, I don't know if I really blame Hillary.
Ran because her husband was president. Oh no, Hillary Clinton would not have been able to run for president had her husband not been president. Are you joking my ass?
Janine wants to leave on time.
Janine always wants to leave on time.
He's not playing.
I mean.
That was me. That was rude.
I mean, Soul Asylum is a perfect example of why a woman should be president. People live in fear of our tour manager, and she's a 3-foot woman.
I mean, I'm terrified of my wife, but I think Michael is too.
I'm not scared, but I am concerned about. I do consider what could happen.
So you say that safely from Minneapolis. If you were here, you might not say that.
Here, where?
In Wisconsin.
Oh, about your wife?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Hey, man, you know who you married.
Yeah.
You must have needed an enforcer in your life.
I mean, if you think about it, most successful men, and I'm not saying I'm successful, but most successful men have
exactly.
wives.
She's doing her part. You got to do yours.
It's true. We do sit on the shoulders of strong and powerful women, I think is what you were trying to get to.
Very, very true. I've been meaning to watch this, Maya. I haven't seen it yet. But I had no issue with Hillary Clinton, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. Perhaps people on the show tonight will disagree with me. I had no issue with Hillary.
I had no issue with her at all. And then we would have had old Wild Bill back in the White House there, and then you got 2 for 1, pretty much. That would have been interesting. I mean, anyways, if Michelle Obama was president, you think she'd talk to Barack about her day-to-day, or she'd go, well, you don't matter anymore, man. It's up to me now.
I mean, I would think she would, simply because I'm pretty sure, based on what I've heard and read, that he talked to her. I mean, because she was also, so I would assume in that type of marriage it would go both ways.
Yeah, and now we're saying that our country's being run by Melania Trump.
They're not on speaking terms.
Dave loves dropping these zingers and then walking off camera.
It's his signature move.
Yeah, it is.
Well, since Janine's watching the clock, is there anything we haven't talked about that you guys want to make sure we talk about?
I'll just say, as of now, we're at Biden with 131 and Trump at 92.
Okay.
Sizable lead.
Well, I'm still so stressed about it.
Let's see if I might be able to.
I'm stressed about it. Very stressed.
See. Did that work?
Yep.
I tried.
Minnesota's not officially called yet, but we're getting there.
I'm disappointed that Wisconsin is looking red, although it can change.
Dan.
Yes,
what
sir.
the fuck is up with that, Dan? My mom and dad are from Wisconsin. What is wrong with your
You
state?
should ask your parents.
Why
Where
don't live in Wisconsin anymore?
are your parents from, Dave?
Green Bay and Milwaukee.
Okay. I know Jeremy's got a family here too.
Yeah, my parents are both Madison and Milwaukee. So yep.
Yeah.
My parents were in Madison. I thought it was a progressive kind of a place.
Madison and Milwaukee are, and the rest of the state is nice and red.
So I pulled that out.
Right.
And it's
When I leave.
there's a white blue spot in Madison and a black blue spot in Milwaukee, and the majority of the rest of the state is white and red, and it's pretty disappointing, especially with the way our state has been handling the pandemic. Is we have a Democratic governor who's done everything right, and then we have a thoroughly gerrymandered state, and the Republicans have sued to basically disembowel everything that the Democratic governor has put in place, and they've won. They've won every time because they have the Supreme Court and they have the legislature and they have, I guess that's it, but they have the Supreme Court and the legislature, and that's enough. We talked about that a little bit on the episode of the show with Representative Sheila Stubbs.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. I'm sure it's no different in any other gerrymandered state or red state with blue spots, but it's really frustrating to see your elected officials constantly and thoroughly go against not just your wishes as a citizen and a voter, but against what's best for your state.
Not to use innuendo, but I think you just said that you're either, allow me to have a little bit of poetic sense of humor here. You're either red and white or you're black and blue.
Well, I said you could be.
It's a black and blue joke, right?
Well,
no,
I did, but I also said you could be blue and white from Madison. Madison is majority white and majority Democrat, and Milwaukee is majority black and majority.
Why don't you figure that out? You get out there and stand on a curb and say, "I'm going to kill you if you vote for Trump."
I don't know if that would end well, Dave. Maybe if you did it with me.
Is that the wrong way to do it?
I don't know. I mean, if again, we're white and you're a celebrity, so we might not get hurt too badly if we do it together. But beyond that,
well, there you go.
Yeah. Do you want to tell that story?
Well, I think it's funny that people said Clinton was the first black president. He's clearly not black. I mean, I think Obama kind of closed the book on that one. But now, which story would you like to talk about?
Well, the only story worth telling, Dave.
That'd be your stories about hanging around with Prince, Michael.
No,
those are always great stories too.
What you brought into the White House when you visited.
Oh, I had
Oh, dear.
weed in my pocket. You can actually maybe even see the
Can you see it in there?
well, the bulge in my pants. I want to say it's my dick, but
See, when we talk about Dave being one of the last true rock stars, we don't.
bag of weed in my pocket.
You get the whole deal. Yep.
Yeah.
So they checked us for everything. They even took our the backs off our Marshall amps because there's something in Marshall amps that they use in bombs, apparently.
Yeah, big magnets.
But they're so cool. And the thing that impressed me the most is that Clinton's staff was like a lot of very young people, and that really impressed me. And that they were cool. They were chill. It's not like Elvis going to meet Nixon, which apparently did happen, and there's movies or 3 about it now. But yeah, it's fun. I said, "Hey, Bill, you want to sit in on sax?" And he took in the whole conversation. It's very casual, and he reminded me of talk show hosts that are very kind to their guests. And yeah, I mean, if I played on the women's soccer team, I can't imagine why those women would want to go to the White House. All these sports teams that were just like, no, thank you. I mean, that's a big political action, taking a knee and all that stuff. That's about as good as you can do. You have an audience if you're calling camera, and you do it, and then you get fired for it. And he's standing his ground, and now he's I don't know, he got a Nike endorsement or something. Is that a dime bag in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Yeah. Well, Priscilla asked how you got
the anymore.
Sorry, go ahead.
Nothing. I was just wondering about dime bags and a lid and weird old questions. Remember seeing that in the news? How did you get to do Clinton's inauguration? Oh, well, we were asked, and I think that Chelsea had a little bit to do with it. A little bit.
Oh,
Makes sense. Yep.
People were relating to the shallow age of MTV, and we did a video that was like a public service announcement, and I think that's kind of why we got asked. And there's 3 or 4 different occasions. So I don't know. I don't know if they sit around and listen to our music, but they liked us, and I liked them, which wasn't hard. Didn't make it hard for me to vote to him. I mean, I hope Chelsea runs for office someday, and I don't know anything about her, but she likes Soul Asylum, I think.
That's a good start.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, she's gone to school for something. I'm gonna look her up now on Wikipedia. I guess she's gone to school in the field. So if and when she does run for something, she would presumably be qualified. I think she's gonna have to wait a while before she can run to get out from under the shadow of her parents.
And on that note,
Well, isn't it nepotism when a king passes on the thing?
there's a lot of nepotism in politics and
Of
Hollywood.
course there is.
Dave,
Yes.
how would you like to see tonight to end?
I would like tonight to end with a victory for Joe Biden.
Ryan?
I'd like us all to sing Kumbaya.
Okay. JT?
I would like to not do Ryan's idea.
Yeah, I'll cover that. I'm definitely in on that.
You just went in with Ryan
Michael?
or Jeremy?
I said I went in with Jeremy, not Ryan.
Nobody likes me there.
Dan?
Dan?
Well, I'd like I'm trying to think of I guess
This is what happens when you go over.
yeah.
Who takes over your show is what
I
happens.
was about to say, what I'm trying to think of is I'm trying to think of a diplomatic way to say that Janine is doing a good job of like pushing for us to end. And I was trying to think of a way I was trying to do a way to wrap that into an answer, but I'm not quick enough for that.
And that's why you should never run for politics.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
All powerful odds.
Mr. Pirner. Question, Mr. Pirner?
Yeah, you know what's weird is when I'm at practice, I have to raise my hand just to get a word in edgewise, which is pretty cool. But I'd like to lead us all in a song right now. And I will try to remember some of the words, but you guys just have to say the chorus, okay?
Do we have any musicians here?
We don't have any.
You ready?
Not seeing
We're
any.
gonna do.
Someone crying, Lord, Kumbaya. Someone singing, Lord, Kumbaya. Come on, I'm doing this on request. Where's my Kumbaya? What does Kumbaya mean? I mean,
Does that mean come by me?
Oh,
this is Ryan.
yeah, come by me. Yeah, that is what it is.
Your bass, your rhythm.
Me or
Yeah.
here?
I know they were against it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2 votes. I guess it's tied. Spiffy or the tiebreaker? Are we doing this Kumbaya thing or what?
I think we've already done enough of it, to be
I think
honest.
you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
All right, wave goodbye to the world, humans.
We're getting the kibosh.
We are. I'm trying to think of a good way to wrap it up. Technically, it looks like we have
Cross.
3 minutes. Well, thank you so much for appearing. It's I'm glad to spend election night with you guys, as I think everybody watching is. Hopefully, we took your mind off the stress of what's going to happen for a couple hours. Looks like Joe Biden is still up, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. My co-host Michael, do you want to say anything to close out?
Unmute.
Well, I guess that's a no because he can't figure out how to unmute it.
Yep. All right.
Okay, well, thanks,
I know
guys.
how. I'm done talking. Let's go.
Okay, we're going to end the show. Stay tuned to the MUSiPOLiTiX page to see when we'll be back, but we're taking a break. This is the end of the season. Michael and I need some time off. We will miss you. We hope you will miss us. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody.